Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive into C4L Cabinetry. We've got this article. It's called Chris Montoya, the visionary behind C4L Cabinetry. And, it's really fascinating stuff. We're going to be talking about how this company is really disrupting the industry.
Yeah, one of the things that really caught my eye about C4L is how they're offering these high-quality cabinets, but at prices that seem almost too good to be true. Like, how do they do that? It's kind of a difficult balance to strike.
Right, it's almost like magic. So the article talks about the founder, Chris Montoya. And it turns out this guy's a real entrepreneur. Even from a young age, he was always interested in building things. He had this natural knack for design. And he was even involved in some small business ventures really early on.
Yeah, it's amazing how often those early experiences can really shape someone's path. It's like all those skills and that drive were just kind of waiting for the right opportunity to come together.
For sure. And that opportunity came in the early 2000s. Chris was renovating a house. I think we've all been there. And he was getting so frustrated with the whole cabinet situation. Big box stores were giving him these crazy high prices. And then on top of that, they're telling him he has to wait months to actually get the cabinets.
Oh yeah, the infamous cabinet wait times. I think anyone who's remodeled a kitchen knows exactly what you're talking about.
Totally. And that's when Chris had this light bulb moment. He realized that there had to be a better way. So he decided to start C4L Cabinetry, a family-owned business that focuses on what the article calls wholesale cabinets.
Now, wholesale cabinets, that might be a new term for some people. Essentially what that means is that they're working directly with the manufacturers. That way they can cut out the retail markup, which allows them to offer those much lower prices. It's a model that's gaining a lot of traction across different industries, actually.
So that's one of the secrets to their crazy affordable prices. The article says they're selling cabinets for like 50% to 75% less than those big box stores.
Wow, that's a huge difference, especially when you think about how much cabinets usually cost in a kitchen remodel. It really opens up possibilities for people who might not have been able to afford those higher-end options before. But of course, the big question is, does the quality hold up at those prices?
And it seems like the answer is a resounding yes. They're not skimping on materials or anything. The article mentions they use solid wood, soft close hinges, the ones that don't slime shut, and they use durable finishes that can really stand up to the wear and tear of a busy kitchen.
That's smart. It sounds like they've really tapped into a key concern for homeowners, that idea that maybe low prices mean you're sacrificing quality. By emphasizing their commitment to those durable materials and solid construction methods, they're really building trust with customers.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the materials. They're also incredibly efficient. Get this, some orders can be ready in as little as 10 days.
That's practically unheard of in this industry. Those quick turnaround times are a game changer, not just for the homeowners who are eager to finish their kitchens, but also for contractors who are trying to manage all their projects.
You're telling me, and you know what else really impressed me? Chris doesn't just offer great products at great prices. He's also created this whole customer-centric experience. It makes the whole process almost enjoyable.
Yeah, it seems like they've really thought through all the potential pain points and then designed their services to address them. That kind of attention to the customer experience is so rare. It really shows their dedication to building those long-term relationships.
It does. They even offer free in-home consultations, so you can actually picture how that cabinets are going to look in your space. Plus, they've got expert designers on staff who can work with you one-on-one in their showrooms.
That's great because choosing cabinets can be so overwhelming. There are just so many styles and options out there. By offering that personalized guidance and expert advice, they're taking the guesswork out of it for people.
Right. And speaking of taking the stress out of things, they've also partnered with a network of skilled tradespeople to handle the installation. So everything is going to be done right. It's like the opposite of those renovation horror stories you hear about.
It sounds like they've really got the whole process covered from start to finish. By streamlining everything and focusing on quality every step of the way, they're creating this seamless and yet maybe even enjoyable experience for their customers.
I think so. And it seems to be working. They've grown from just one location to multiple showrooms all across Arizona, Scottsdale, Mesa, Tempe, you name it. And they even just opened up a location in Denver, Colorado.
That's impressive. But that kind of rapid growth does raise some questions. How do they make sure the quality and the service stay consistent across so many different locations? And can their model really scale effectively as they keep growing? Those are challenges that a lot of companies struggle with.
Yeah, it's like they've figured out the secret to success, but can they keep that momentum going? And how's that going to affect the way we all buy cabinets in the future?
Those are great questions. And I think those are things we should definitely talk about more as we learn more about C4L. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's talk about how Chris Montoya has managed to stay ahead of the curve in an industry that's not exactly known for being cutting edge.
Right. How do they keep things exciting? Because let's be real, cabinets aren't usually considered the most glamorous part of a home.
You're not wrong. It's not like the latest tech gadget that everyone's rushing out to buy. So how has C4L managed to get people excited about something as ordinary as cabinets?
Well, it seems like Chris Montoya has a few tricks up his sleeve, and one of them is embracing the power of choice and customization. The article talks about how C4L offers this huge range of cabinet styles, like you can get the classic shaker look, or you can go for something more modern and sleek. It seems like they have something for everyone.
Yeah, it's smart. That way they're not just focusing on one specific type of customer, they're appealing to a much wider audience. Whether you want a traditional kitchen or a really modern minimalist space.
Exactly. But they don't stop there. They also have these semi-custom and even fully custom cabinetry options. So if you have a really specific vision, like let's say you want a secret spice rack built into one of the cabinet doors, they can make it happen.
That's really interesting. It feels like there's this growing trend in home design where people are moving away from those cookie cutter solutions. People really want to make their spaces their own, and C4L is tapping into that by giving homeowners the ability to create kitchens that truly reflect their style and their needs.
And that probably explains why they have so many amazing reviews. People love that they can get exactly what they want without having to compromise. But here's the thing, all this choice and all this customization, it makes you wonder how they can still keep things affordable.
That is a great question. It almost seems counterintuitive, right? Usually more customization means higher prices. Maybe this goes back to their direct-to-manufacturer model. By cutting out that middleman, they have more control over the production. So maybe that's how they can offer more flexibility without raising the prices too much.
Like they've found this perfect balance. They can be cost effective and still really responsive to what customers are looking for. But I do wonder, does this model have any limitations? Could it create challenges as they continue to grow?
It's a good point. I think one potential challenge could be maintaining quality control, especially with all these different products and all the different customization options. Another thing to consider is the customer service. As the company gets bigger, can they still provide that same level of personalized attention? That's something they'll need to be careful about.
It's a tough balancing act. You want to grow and reach more people, but you also don't want to lose sight of what made you successful in the first place. It'll be interesting to see how C4L handles these challenges. But you know what really stood out to me about Chris Montoya? It's not just about the business for him. He's really committed to giving back to the community.
Right. The article mentioned a few different philanthropic initiatives that C4L is involved in, like donating cabinets to families in need and partnering with organizations that build homes for people who need them. It's great to think a company that cares about more than just making money.
Absolutely. And they're not just talking about it, they're actually doing it. It seems like Chris Montoya understands that success is about more than just profits. It's also about using your success to make a positive impact.
Yeah, and that's something that a lot of companies are starting to prioritize. And it makes sense. People want to support businesses that share their values. And knowing that a company like C4L is giving back to the community can really influence people's decisions.
Definitely. It's not just about the bottom line anymore. So what's next for C4L Cabinetry? Well, the article hints at some pretty ambitious plans, like expanding into new markets, developing even more customizable options, and even exploring new technologies in cabinet manufacturing.
Wow, they're not slowing down at all. They're really looking for ways to keep innovating, which is so important in any industry, especially one that's as competitive as home renovation.
It's true. They're not afraid to push the boundaries and shake things up a bit. And that brings us to a really interesting question. How might C4L's success impact the rest of the industry? Could their direct-to-consumer model, their focus on affordability and customization, and their commitment to giving back, could all of that force other companies, even the big box stores, to rethink how they do things?
It's a fascinating question. C4L seems to be doing something right. So it's definitely possible that other companies will have to adapt if they want to stay competitive. We've already seen that happen in other industries, like retail and transportation, where new business models have come in and completely changed the game.
It's like they're setting a new standard and saying, hey, there's a better way to do this. It'll be interesting to see how the market reacts and how C4L continues to adapt and evolve. But for now, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about what all of this means for you, our listener. You're probably thinking, okay, the C4L company sounds great, but what does this have to do with me? Well, even if you're not planning a kitchen remodel anytime soon, there are still some important lessons here for everyone.
Definitely. C4L's story shows us that it's possible to offer high-quality products at affordable prices. And that amazing customer service can really make a difference. And maybe most importantly, it shows that businesses can be successful and still do good in the world.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that we have a choice. We can choose to support companies that share our values, and that are making a positive impact. And sometimes those choices can lead us to discover some hidden gems, like C4L Cabinetry, a company that might not be a household name yet, but is definitely one to watch.
It's true. And who knows, maybe their story will inspire us of you listening to go out there and shake things up in your own industries. Because there's always room for innovation. And sometimes the best ideas come from the people who are willing to challenge the way things are usually done. Yeah. And, it's like they're proving that you don't have to choose between doing well and doing good. You can do both.
Right. And sometimes those companies, the ones that are really trying to make a difference, they can be hard to find, but they're out there.
Exactly. So as you go about your day today, think about the companies you support. Think about the products you buy, the services you use. Ask yourself, are they really meeting my needs? Are they living up to my expectations? And if not, is there something better out there?
That's such a good point. Maybe there's a C4L cabinetry waiting to be discovered in a whole different industry.
Exactly. Maybe it's just waiting for someone to come along and shake things up.
I love that. It's all about being curious and asking questions and never settling for good enough. So thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of C4L cabinetry. We hope you learned something new and maybe even got a little inspired to think differently.
And hey, if you're planning a kitchen remodel anytime soon, you know who to call.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.